watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
Right now, crews are battling 3 brush fires in Lawson Valley, just east of Hamul. Thanks for being here at 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Netta Irampour. So let's show you here on a map where these fires are. There you see it, Springs Fire. CAL FIRE is actually grouping these fires together, calling them the Springs Fire. And we have team coverage for you this morning. CBS 8's Regina Yorita is there, live at the site of the fire in Lawson Valley, where people have been forced out of their homes.
First, let's get to meteorologist Evan Ronnie for a check on the weather conditions there. Evan?
Yeah, it is finally starting to cool down across San Diego County. That includes our inland valleys and our mountains as temperatures slide by about 5 to 10 degrees over the course of just 24 hours. So from yesterday into today, we'll see that drop in temperatures. Satellite radar is also indicating that there's much more cloud cover out there, which can help increase our humidity values quite a bit. So that's the plus side for those fire crews out there. The downside is that it is still nonetheless going to be warm. Look at our mountains this afternoon, 87 degrees, not by any means cold, just back closer to average, closer to seasonal. 81 is expected as that afternoon high on average across our inland valleys and out toward the coastline. That's the most mild place to be at 71 this afternoon. We do want to send things out to Regina Yorita. She's live near the fire with the very latest. Hi, Regina.
Hey, good morning, Evan. That's right. And we are off of Honey Springs Road, just close to Lyons Road, about half a mile away from where fire crews are actively working to continue that containment line and obviously battle this fire. You're seeing fire engines here. They are on standby. Now, as you mentioned, we know that this fire started off as 3 small brush fires. They eventually merged and burned about 50 acres. Right now, containment is at 10%. I'm being told by CAL FIRE officials that once you start heading more east, northeast to be specific, you'll start to notice the progress that's being done. Firefighters have the upper hand at this point. What really helped them was the temperatures dropping last night and this morning. So they're going to continue taking advantage of the cooler weather. We're supposed to get an update in the next hour or so. So fire crews, we know, will be changing shifts, and at that point, we'll know where the fire stands. But as of right now, there are no immediate threats to any structures. Officials have, however, issued evacuation orders and warnings. So for residents who have been affected by the fire, they're being asked to evacuate to the Edwards Theater off of Hamishaw Road in El Cajon. I'm also being told by CAL FIRE officials that the flames and fire have at least reduced at this point. But again, we are supposed to get an update in an hour to know where containment stands and how much acreage has burned at this point. So once we get an update, we'll be sure to share it with you and have more details on that. But for now, I'll send it back to you.
Regina, with that important information, thank you very much for bringing that to us. And now new this morning, a homicide investigation underway in Valley Center. The Sheriff's Department just released details after a person was found dead inside a trailer yesterday.
Deputies were responding to a call about a missing person around 10:40 a.m. on Woods Valley Road. Authorities say the victim had signs of trauma. You're asked to call the Sheriff's Department if you know anything about this. And this just in here, the U.S. State Department is firing over 1,300 workers. This includes over 1,000 civil servants and 246 foreign service officers with domestic assignments in the U.S.
The State Department says there are no plans to cut jobs overseas as of now. The Trump administration saying the cuts will make the department more efficient. But critics say this will weaken U.S. influence and ability to counter threats abroad.
Today marks 1 week since catastrophic flooding in central Texas. And today, President Donald Trump and the First Lady are headed to the epicenter, the city of Kerrville, to speak with leaders in the community as the death toll has risen now to more than 120 people.
And at this point, more than 170 people are still unaccounted for here a week later. The San Diego nonprofit Comfort Cubs sent their therapeutic teddy bears to help people there.
It stimulates the neurons in the brain to create chemicals that help offset the depression, the grief. It helps with all that without them even knowing it.
And now around the state of Texas, people are also tying these green ribbons around trees to honor the people who have died, including more than 20 children and counselors from Camp Mystic, the color green associated with the all-girls Christian camp. And if you would like to help out our parent company, Tegna, raising money for flood victims and recovery, as we know, this will take years for them to recover. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. There's a link. It'll send you to a link where you can donate. And all of that money will go towards local organizations that are actually supporting flood victims directly.
New this morning, the FBI is looking for a man who appeared to fire a gun at federal officers as an immigration operation got underway at a cannabis farm in Camarillo. This happened yesterday. Those at the scene say smoke bombs and chemical irritants were used to try and disperse the crowd. Multiple people were arrested for obstructing the operation. Several people were hurt. Here in San Diego, masked HSI agents in unmarked cars arrested a Spring Valley couple. This happened Wednesday. Agents first arrested a woman at her workplace downtown before heading to her home in Spring Valley to arrest her husband. Their children and neighbors tried to intervene but were unsuccessful. The couple already has an attorney. Meantime, the Spring Valley swap meet is denying reports that ICE was on their property this week. Organizers say a SWAT team was responding to a situation in the area not related to federal immigration enforcement. The swap meet says, quote, a large part of our community is directly impacted by the current political climate. We would never put our community in harm's direct way.
And now this morning, the White House is criticizing a federal judge in New Hampshire who issued a nationwide block on the president's executive order ending birthright citizenship. So in his ruling, the judge wrote, quote, the deprivation of U.S. citizenship and an abrupt change of policy would cause irreparable harm. He's giving the administration 1 week to appeal. This issue will likely be decided by the Supreme Court.
This morning, public school districts across San Diego County are dealing with the effects of a controversial decision by the Trump administration.
The White House has now frozen $55 million in grant funding that many local schools had already factored into their budgets. CBS 8's Chris Grow live in studio to explain how they plan to take action. They got to make some quick moves here. School's starting soon.
Yeah, and again, a lot of these budgets had already been passed. They'd been counting on this money, and that's a huge part of this because this money already was approved by Congress, took many off guard and by surprise. The legality of the move already being questioned. Many worried about the consequences. Here's the chief of staff for the San Diego County Office of Education.
We have students who are going to be showing up on our doorsteps pretty soon, and the instability is very difficult. The fact is that takes time, and we need relief now. So we really are counting on the federal government to release these funds.
All right, so here in San Diego County as a whole, we are seeing more than $50 million frozen. San Diego Unified, the largest school district here in our county, could lose $13 million. Sweetwater could lose $4.5 million. Chula Vista Elementary, more than $2 million. And then for smaller school districts like Lakeside, that number much lower at $163,000. It's part of a larger freeze across the nation. $6.2 billion in grants allocated to support English learners, teacher training, after-school programs, and migrant education. In a statement, a spokesperson told CBS 8 this is not a freeze and that they are reviewing the funding, that being a spokesperson for the White House, and that, quote, these grant programs have been grossly misused to subsidize a radical left-wing agenda. Here's Richard Barrera, the San Diego Unified Board Vice President.
This, and to politicize it, first of all, is wrong, but second, is actually illegal. It would have to be cuts if we end up not getting the funding.
The White House Office of Management and Budget, OMB, currently reviewing the grants with, again, the idea that they could be released, they could be given to these school districts, they could be minimized, or they could be cut, but no timeline right now on when a decision will be made. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris, for that.
Let's check in with Evan Arney for a look at our forecast here. We're on this Friday after this heat wave we experienced midweek. We're on the tail end of that. Things are going to be a lot cooler now. I felt it even last night.
Yeah, and it was like misty on the way in.
Oh,
so
yeah, right? All
here.
the changes kind of bring us back to seasonal. Seasonal still involves a fair amount of clouds out by the coastline. Here's a live look outside at that sunrise. 5:50 was that technical start time, but we've been enjoying the beautiful orange and pink hues coming in. The downside now with the weakening of that ridge is that clouds have rejoined us, so the majority of San Diego County residents are below these clouds out by the coast and inland. We are going to be seeing, though, that those clouds will pull their way back. You all know the drill if you've been here any day prior to Wednesday, Thursday, but those were our 2 days where we got to enjoy more mild conditions and a clear clearer start to each of those mornings. Beach forecast still will involve some cloud cover in the morning stretch. 74 degrees on average is what we're looking at by our coast for Saturday, 75 for Sunday, decreasing clouds. So you can stake your claim on the beach early on in the day, but don't expect it to be all that sunny until we get closer to about 10, 11 a.m. and then we transition toward more and more of that sunshine. High temperatures for the day today across the southwest are very hot still. Take a look at how many triple-digit spots we're going to run into. Vegas going for 109 this afternoon. Even Palm Springs 113, Phoenix 110, and then we in San Diego are able to enjoy temperatures closer to 70 degrees by the water, 80 inland, but of course even our local deserts, Borrego Springs, still expected to hit the triple-digit heat today. 69 for Santa Barbara, 74 up in San Luis Obispo. Out the door right now, we've got those overcast skies. Temperatures mostly in the mid-60s, 65 in Santee, 64 in National City, and 64 in Chula Vista and downtown San Diego as well. Over the next couple days, we'll start to fluctuate just a bit, see a little bit of a climb in temperatures by Sunday, and then a small drop in temperatures as we go into the beginning and middle of next week. Let's check in on drive time, see how we're faring as we start off your Friday morning commute out there. We see that speeds in the South Bay on the 805 northbound, the 5 northbound, both looking smooth. There is a bit of slowing on the Coronado Bridge from downtown to Coronado down to about 43 miles per hour. We also have a new crash that we can take you to that just popped up, not causing any delays right now, but just something to know as volume starts to pick up, especially around the South Bay. Left-hand shoulder right now is blocked with a crash on the 805 southbound, so this is not predominantly in the lanes that are going to be picking up in volume for the morning, but still nonetheless at H Street, you might run into some slightly slower speeds. Border wait times this morning look like this: 130-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry going to take you just slightly longer, an extra 10 minutes. It's 140 minutes, so just over about 2 hours and 20 minutes.